Welcome back, friends. It's the Halfass Crafter. I'm Laura, the Halfass Crafter. You all said you wanted a fussy cutting video, so I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to call it a master class in fussy cutting, but that may be overinflating it. But it's a half-ass class in fussy cutting. Maybe that's what this is. Anyway, before we do that, I did go to my post office box and I did get some happy mail. I wanted to show it to you all. I believe this is all for this year. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. First off, I got this beautiful card. Okay, we're gonna go through the cards first, and then I'm gonna talk about this beautiful envelope. And I know Lisa's gonna be like, it's just an envelope from the store, but it's an Australian envelope. So to my American brain, it's amazing. Anyway, this is beautiful. It's like glue booked and I love it. Oh my gosh. And it's from Christine. Thank you so much. And she included these cute stickers. Ooh, I didn't notice those when I first opened the card. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to put these stickers in my Christmas things. And then I got another card from Kim. Thank you so much. And then she enclosed an altered playing card. And oh my gosh, it's got like canvas on it, like canvas tape maybe? I don't know. I'm so intrigued by this whole thing. I'm also kind of in love with the iridescent rave snowman. Super fun. Gonna hang this on my little board. Barb sent me a card. Barb is a incredibly talented card maker. She's also, man, she might have been one of my original subscribers. I don't know. She's been around forever. Thank you so much, Barb. Your cards are just always so beautiful. And then my friend Amy sent this card, which is a gorgeous card. Amy is also a very talented card maker. And when I sent her a Christmas card, I had to make sure to find like the best one because I didn't want to be embarrassed. Not that I think that she would judge me because she is like the nicest, kindest person ever. But you know, our brains are weird. So anyway, beautiful, right? But what was cool was she put this piece of paper on top of it so that, you know, it wouldn't rub through the envelope or whatever. And what ended up happening was some of, I think this is Inktense pencil, rubbed off onto this card. And now I'm like, this is a whole piece of art in itself. So it was like a little 2-for-1 deal. I loved it. So thank you all very much for the holiday happy mail. That is so sweet and kind. I love exchanging holiday cards. I'll do it again this year, next year, whatever. We're in that weird in-between space where like the year's over, but it's not over. So anyway, but I got this from Australia, which is from Lisa Hardy. And oh my gosh, I don't want to show you her address on the back, but I do want to show you, look at that. See the little maid here? Isn't that cute? And then the little indigenous communities. I cannot wait to, I'm gonna cut this apart. I can tell you that. We're cutting this envelope up. Oh my gosh. So Lisa did tell me that she was sending me some, there's a fussy cut. She was sending me some magazine pages from an Australian magazine. Oh, hang on. I'm reading the note. Oh, so great. Okay, Lisa, when you sent this, you didn't have your Christmas card yet, so I hope that you have it now. Oh my gosh. Let's look at that lady. Oh, love it. Okay, look, I just happen to have my little people box right there, so I'm going to put that in there. Oh my gosh, let's go through these really quickly, and then how fabulous that we are doing a fussy cutting class. Oh, man, there's so many. Oh, those are both good. Ah, that is amazing. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, I'll figure that one out. Ooh, that's so good. How come I haven't seen this Dior ring anywhere? Ooh, that's a great. Oh, that is good. I'm like, well, what would I was like, oh, I could just cut out the hands with the Jello, which I could, but then I'm like, man, but her mouth is great too. Maybe I just cut out the mouth. All right. Okay. We'll figure it out. Oh, there's a tiny tiger. It's a tiny tiger. Can you see it? Whoop. tiny tiger. Okay. Whoa. That's amazing. Those colors are great. Man, I love a good black background, you know? Look at that. Oh, she's a good sitter, isn't she? Okay, I love the background that she's on, but I'm going to have to cut her out because she's a good sitter. I know. Look at these hands. Look at that. Love that. Look at this. Oh, that is a great running. Oh, that's so good. Ooh, this would be neat in a background for sure. Look at her crocheted macrame. I don't even know. Amazing. Ooh, nice. That's a good one. Yeah. What would I do with that? Like, see, there's so many things you can do. You can cut out these individual pieces. You could cut her out individually. You could use the whole thing as a background piece. She's great. Love her. Look at this collage. That just gives me ideas, actually. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love that so much. And again, you could cut out each individual piece if you wanted. You could cut this, you know, you could cut this part off and use this in a collage. There's so many things you can do. Oh my gosh, where are you finding magazines that have this wonderful collage? Is there a name? Elle Australia, of course, of course. So good. I think it's funny how whenever I post new magazine Mondays, people will say, oh, we don't get magazines that good here because they, you know, oh, that's a great background because they live not in the US. But then when I see UK or European versions or Australian versions of magazines, I'm like, oh, we don't have anything that good in the US. That's amazing too. Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair at all. That's a great background, but also that piece behind it is amazing. Look at these black and white. She's a sitter. She's sitting. She's kind of sitting too, right? It looks like she could be jumping off of this little sheep lamb thing here. She's like, woo, let me get out of here. All right, what's this? There are two of you, don't you see? Ooh, hey, pretty girl, time to wake up. I refuse to listen to any renegade talk. I'll take the renegade talk. That's cool. I like that a lot. That's awesome. Look at these bunnies. Okay, I will probably cut these bunnies out individually and then keep this background. I collect solid color backgrounds. Oh no. This is unfair. I collect solid color backgrounds, so this would do two purposes. I think I'll cut the bunnies. We'll figure it out. Oh, that's great. I don't want to look on the back. Oh, no, I like this better. I mean, the tomato's kind of cool, but I think I like this better. I think I would probably cut that out. But then I would use this as squares and rectangles. Oh, that's great. Do I want to flip it over? Nope. Also great. I think I would use the antler. Yeah, I think I would use the antler. I like the green. I like the colors of the shoe. Oh man, that is so difficult to choose, but I think that's what I would use. Yes, okay. All right, well, I don't have to use anything right now because first off, Lisa, so great. Thank you so much. I am going to, well, I'm going to put these in my small little squares and rectangle box. And you can't see it. It's over here. I'm trying not to knock a bunch of things down because everything is precariously balanced. And then I will put these in my fussy cuts. These will go in my holiday storage, which I will have a holiday storage video for you next. We're going to do fussy cutting first. And we are going to get right into it as soon as I clean off my desk. And we are going to fussy cut some pages that we just took out of some HGTVs. I think it's just HGTV, actually. maybe there was a, yeah, there was a real symbol in here, but this is from November. So if you watched my November New Magazine Monday, then you will remember these pages. Okay, first things first, what I like to do is I like to have a larger pair of scissors. I'm not a huge fan of the Tim Holtz scissors. I thought I was really going to love these. I do like the size of them, but the problem with the Tim Holtz scissors is you don't really grab the paper. See, if I can just do this, which you would think that's great. It is if you're doing wrapping paper. It is not great if you are doing fussy cutting. The next thing I need are my cutter bee. So these are the scissors that I use most often. So let me show you. I will start with this page here and I will show you how I figure out what to cut. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, well, what do I want to cut out? Well, I think I want to cut out these, and I think I want to cut that out. I might cut this out too. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and see what I've got back here. I can probably get these two things. Yes, I can. So the first thing, I use the big scissors to cut out the pieces that I want. And I'm probably not going to take that stem, but I'm going to cut it out just in case. This is annoying, so I just want to tear that off. And then I'm going to cut out this pillow. The 37 is kind of neat. I know some people like to do numbers in their glue books. You know, I do think I'm going to take Come On In because I do like it. So I am not going to cut this in a way that is perfect right out of the gate. The first thing I'm going to do is take these pieces that I want on this side. And I'll show you how I'm going to fussy cut those. And then I flip it over and I say, okay, well, what do I have now? So now I have these two, which I want. So I'm going to take those. I mean, you got to look around, right? Because it may not be glaringly obvious to you what pieces there are. And yes, I'm switching around my scissors because I'm going to pick up whatever scissors are close to me. All right. This is a great square for my glue book. So here's what I would do with that. Usually I would set it off to the side and trim it up later, but since we're doing a little tutorial here, I'm going to show you right out of the gate how I would do this. So people ask me if I have a, you know, they're like, do you have a standard size that you use for your squares and rectangles? No, I don't. I just cut them. And to me, that's the interesting piece of that whole rectangle is this. So that's it. This can even be a rectangle. I want to cut this off because that's annoying, but I'm going to trim it up like that. And I don't want a whole lot of that white. So I'm going to do that. And then I can do that. And then, oops. Sometimes that happens. If you're trying to trim it too close, it will sometimes get all funky. So I just try to run my scissors as close to straight as I can. Most of the time you are going to glue over these things. So then now that I've done that, I'll flip it over and see what I have left. Could I take that? Sure, I could take that. I could take this paint as well if I wanted to. It does say paint on it, so I'm like, kind of iffy on it. I'll even flip it over sometimes and look at the tiny pieces because sometimes that's when you find a really small thing that maybe you didn't notice before. So I'm not going to take anything on that. So next is this. I love both of these pieces because A, they're easy to cut. So these, that, and that, all easy to cut out. Flip it over. There's not much. Maybe I'll take watch this, but I definitely want these two. So I'm going to take those, and then I want these two, and I want this as well, but interestingly enough, I think I already have that, just smaller. I think all of these retailers pay to get things put in magazines, because I will have a Better Homes and Gardens that has basically the exact same room as a Southern Living or an HGTV. So these are simple. Let's just go ahead since we've got it. These are very simple. You can usually just line your scissors up with these and cut straight. Let me tell you the secret to cutting a straight line. The secret to cutting a straight line is A, you have to have a straight line to go off of, but B, you look ahead. So as I'm cutting, I'm actually looking in front of the tip of my scissors, like that. And that's where I'm aiming my scissors, is for that line that's in front of them. You don't look at what you're cutting, you look just ahead of what you're cutting. This also works with riding a horse. Ta-da! And this line isn't quite straight, but I'm not gonna worry about it because, again, we're gonna move it around. We're gonna put things on top of it. Okay, so we're gonna watch this because it's here. And again, with words, I just don't really care. I trim them like this, and then if I want to use them, that's when I'll cut them out. Or if I'm having like, you know, a long phone call or a stressful day and I just need to de-stress, then I'll start cutting around my words. All right. Let's see about these. So for these, I pretty much would probably take all of them because they're all going to be very easy to cut out. And then we look at the back, and this is what's on the back. Great hauls might be fun, but then I would lose those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these out individually first. If you can break up your fussy cutting into like pieces, steps, phases, that sort of thing, it makes it way easier. So I'm just gonna cut all of these up, and now that step is done, right? And then I don't have to, I'm not sitting there looking at this huge page full of items and going, oh my gosh, how am I gonna cut all of these items out? Well, I don't have to worry about it. All I have to do is look at each individual item that I've already cut out. So, and I know you're like, this is kind of boring. I hope she edits this out. I might not, because sometimes it's boring, y'all. And let me tell you, these lights can be used for so many things. You can put heads on top of them. If you've got like a little head, let's see, I have a tiger head over here from what Lisa sent me. Okay, so I don't like using those to do fussy cutting because I feel like they just slither around. It's like a freaking slip and slide. So here is my hint. If you want that, you can cut around it. If I'm feeling in a particular mood, I don't worry about it. I'm like, I don't care, because I don't. And the cool thing is this lamp, I could paint it later to look like a little mushroom. And this is where you move the paper, not your scissors. So that's why you don't want to cut it too close, because you need to hold on to that paper to be able to move the paper around. The other thing to keep in mind, which I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about, I think a lot of us get really in a hurry and we just want to get it cut out. Especially if there's a lot of curves. Let's cut this one out and I'll demonstrate what I'm about to talk about on this one. And then again, I'm going to flip it over. Is there anything on the other side? No, not really. Okay, cool. So let me show you what I'm talking about on this one. Let's cut that little piece off. All right. So when you are cutting, if you know how to drive a manual or a stick shift or a 5-speed or a 4-speed or whatever you grew up calling it, here's what I need you to know. Fussy cutting is a lot like driving a manual transmission car. You have to push your scissors down with the movement of your paper. So you can't speed through it. You can't just go zip, 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 zip. And I know a lot of people do the fussy cutting and they speed it up and you're like, well, that person fussy cuts so fast. No, I promise you they do not cut that fast. I promise you that they are doing it slowly and they've sped it up. Now, some people will go fast and maybe they have some sort of innate talent for fussy cutting that you and I don't have. But you have to go as slow. Your scissors and your paper turning have to be coordinated. You also, here's my other big tip, use the tip of your scissors. So you want to keep cutting because when you pick up your scissors, that's how you get those jagged edges, especially around curves. You want to go all the way to the tip. Ta-da. So that is how, flip it over. It's cute, but it's too small. I'm not interested in using it. So that is how I cut curves. All right, the next thing I want to do is I'm trying to find a good page which has like 2 good sides on it. So for this one, I would probably just take this as like a whole piece. No, I wouldn't. You know what? I'm going to take just that bear because on the other side is this bear. No, I'm going to cut into that bear's head, but I do just want the bear. So I am going to cut out this square, but I'm not going to worry about cutting it super straight. I'm going to look and see, what do I have left here? I have the word the, and it does have a neat blue background, so I'm going to take it. Who knows what I'll do with it? But I do like that blue. It's very vibrant and bright. I could use this blue background. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this like that. So there's a square that I can use later. Where's all my squares and rectangles? And then I will cut these with my paper trimmer into, I'll probably do that a square, and I might cut this in half or something. We'll see. But that's also going to be a square and rectangle. And usually as I'm fussy cutting, I have 2 buckets. I have a place for my fussy cuts that I've cut out that I still need to actually fussy cut. And then I have a pile for my squares and rectangles. So let's find, I'm kind of wondering if it may be this one that may have parts. I really want to find something that'll have a piece on the back where we can be like, holy smokes, yeah, that's cool. But also I just really love these. Okay, let's see. Oh, you know what? I'm already cutting this. This one was very difficult because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to keep. Oh, why didn't I cut that snowman out? Oh, because it was over these, I bet. Yeah, okay, this is going to be a difficult one. Let's talk about it. I could take those, what's on the other side, these 2 buckets with M and R. So I think I'm going to take the buckets because they're easier to cut. So when I have a page like this, I am going to very carefully and closely cut these out because see how I ended up keeping this cup? So I could still cut that cup up if I wanted to use it. That would have been adorable in my Christmas glue book. These are adorable. But again, there's these 2 things. So let's see. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold it up. Okay, I could get this one and not these if I wanted to take that snowman. I think I'm going to take the snowman. So again, I'm going to go pretty close to that snowman. Hopefully you can see this. I can't, yeah. And then that means I cut those two, which is fine, but I'm going to get the snowman. All right, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I want this, and I'm going to use these scissors because I don't want this to slide through the paper. So if you see this, do you see those jagged edges? That's because I cut and then I picked it up. That's why you have to do slow and steady. So as I'm turning my paper, I'm closing my scissors. And it takes a while to get used to that. Okay, do I want this vase or do I want this tiger thing in the other half of this bowl? I think I want the tiger thing in the other half of the bowl. I wish I didn't cut that. Oh, man. Oh, I didn't need to cut that. Okay, well, I'm going to take, am I going to take that? Whoa. Well, if I take the tiger thing, I'm going to lose it. Okay, I'm going to take this bowl. I might be able, no. Okay. All right. If I take that, I'm losing the house and the tiger thing. Do I want the house and the tiger thing? Yeah, I do. I want two more than one. So, and I'm sure someone out there is like, oh, Laura, you could have blah, 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 blah. And that's great. Put that in the comments so that people can see it, because I am not a master fussy cutter. I am calling this a master class, but it's really a half-ass class. And maybe I'll just say that it's a half-ass class. I am going to take this. I'm just going to cut that piece off. And I'll just cut that out. It'll be a pain because it's all... And yes, you can even like flip it over and check, you know, is there anything left on here? And sometimes I have found the smallest things still left. So this is also another good one where, you know, you could cut these pieces out and then you have all of this left over. I'm not sure that I want to cut through that yet. This is stuff that I have to like study with my eyeballs for a while before I can just dig into it. Where is, I had another piece that I'd already started cutting on. Ah, this one. Okay, so do you want the lamp or do you want all these candles? I think I want all these candles. So this one's going to be fairly simple because I'm probably not going to take this candle because it's got all these jagged edges. So this is going to be pretty easy. Yeah, there's nothing that I want to worry about saving on the other side. So we're just going to cut these like this. And if you want to do like an astrology book, you've got all these headers for the astrological signs, so that would be fun. I'm probably going to cut the wick off of all of these. So I'm not going to, here's the thing about fussy cutting is, you know, you don't have to take all of it. And then I'll flip it over and I'll look. I'll see, is there anything on the other side that might be useful for me? And the reason I like these is because they will glide through the paper like that. So, and then flip it over. Is there anything? No, there's not. But there might be. You never know. You never know. I don't think I want that one, but you know what? We can kiss cut that one. Let me show you how to kiss cut. Or how I kiss cut. This isn't how you have to do it. You can do it any way you want. This is very small. So this is not going to be neat in the least. But when I kiss cut, again, it's very much like fussy cutting, only I'm trying to stay a similar distance away from the, whatever I'm cutting out, the item. And then when I get to these areas where it's like jaggedy, what I try to do is I try to just fake that it is following the jaggediness. Is that a word? No. The jagged edge of this item. And again, I cut off the wick because I just can't care about that. So when I have a jagged edge, I just wiggle it. Again, if you think like a clutch and an accelerator pedal, you know, one is your clutch, one is your accelerator pedal, and ta-da. That's it. That's what I do. And then again, flip it over. And you could save these. These would make neat little like faux washi tape looking borders and stuff. You could easily do that. Ooh, this one I wanted. Oh, that's kind of cool. The whole making merry thing. Okay, this may have some interesting stuff on the other side. So I'm not going to worry about the other side. The first thing I'm going to worry about is I want this fireplace. So I'm going to cut into the fireplace like so. I'm going to stay kind of close to it because I may be able to get something really interesting on the other side. So I'm going to try to stay close to this if I can. All right, flip it over. Oh, that's great. So I might even be able to use this whole thing. So for this, because it has white around the whole edge, I may just leave a little border and do a little kiss cut on it. Sometimes I think that makes things look a bit cleaner. Is that the word I want to go for? More streamlined, refined. But, you know, you think about how you might want to use it and what you want to do. If it's people, I don't kiss cut normally. Sometimes I will, but normally I have found my own preference is people should just be cut out in a regular old fussy cut. Sometimes if it's very intricate, I'll do a kiss cut because it's fine. But a lot of times I think that on my glue book pages, I feel like people look better if they're fully fussy cut out. Okay, so there's a little kiss cut, leaving just the smallest border. And now it's like, okay, well, I could take this making merry, but the problem is, if you look, let's block all this off. If you look, the problem is going to be that it's not going to look super great. Here, let's cover this up. So the problem is it's got these two backgrounds. So what would I do? Not take it. I would leave that alone. These chairs are kind of neat though. I may take, you know what? I am going to take though. What's over here? Nothing. I'm taking these chairs. So I did sort of see the chairs when we first did this, but I didn't really think about them. So again, I'm trying to cut straight and I'm checking ahead of my blade, and that's where I'm aiming for. Because if I look at my blade, ooh, look at that. I flipped it over right before I put it in the recycling. I have a whole chair here if I want it. All right, so we're just gonna go like this. And we're gonna cut that and that. Again, utilize the tip of your scissors. It really is useful. That's why your fussy cutting scissors should really have a pointed tip so that you can get in there, and they should be very sharp. Like these scissors started to go dull on me. So I bought some more, but then I remembered that I had a scissor sharpener. I know, I forgot I had even gotten that. I bet somebody remembered because I showed it in a haul video, I think, ages ago. But if anybody out there is like me, they've watched my old videos and then they watch a new video and they're like, how does she not remember? And then they go and look and they're like, oh, well, that old video was from 8 months ago. That's how she didn't remember. So I am doing a full fussy cut on this because the background is so different. And what I want is I just want these chairs. All right, now we're gonna cut up in here. And people always ask, how do you not have stuff left over? Because I'm actually cutting into the picture. So I'm actually cutting some of this red off. Not a lot, but a very thin slice of it. I don't know if you can see that, but there's red on the outlines because I cut into the red part of the chair. That's how you make it look standalone. That's it. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be perfect. No one knows that this, except us, but if I were to take this out on the street, down to my neighbor's house and say, what do you think? They'd be like, wow, that's really impressive. And there is this small blue piece, which you could easily cut out with a little X-Acto knife. You could even cut it out with your scissors because it's pretty easy. I'll show you. You would just go snip, snip. And remember, we're going to use the tip of our scissors here. Snip. And then I got to get under it. Snip. There we go. And I didn't quite get all the blue, but that's fine. Nobody's going to notice that. And then what I would do so that I wouldn't wreck my own fussy cutting is I'm going to take a little piece of tape, and that's too wide, so I'm going to cut it down just a smidge. And I'm just going to tape that piece together. Ta-da! Nobody knows. See? There you go. So now I can look and say, well, do I want any more of this? Do I want, because I could just cut this out. And you may say, oh, that's gonna look awful. Well, it's gonna look completely different from what it looks like right now. Let me show you. I wanna save as much border as I can. I don't think I want that chair. It'd be too hard to cut out and annoying. I might take that little table. I definitely think I want this as a square or rectangle. So we're gonna leave that there. Let me show you how I would cut this. This, I'm going to do a much fatter kiss cut on. And again, I'm closing my scissors slowly and I'm moving my paper a bit quicker than my scissors. Okay, and then I'm ooh, it's all right. Come up here. I want this to be all one piece with 3 circular things in it. And then I'm going to do here. So remember, if you've ever driven a manual transmission, you'll know what I'm talking about when you start doing it. You'll be like, oh, it is. And if you've never driven a manual transmission, let me explain what's going on. When you drive a manual transmission, you have to push the gas and release the clutch at an equal amount. If you do one more than the other, you'll either rev the engine or pop your clutch, depending on which one you do. So what you're doing here is you're in concert with the moving of my paper and the squeezing of my scissors. Moving of my paper, squeezing of my scissors. It's a little dance. And you can, you know, you could do your kiss cut however you want. You could go way deep in there if you wanted to. But I think this is just a really neat, it looks kind of like white flowers, right? It's just a really neat design element all by itself. Okay, now let me show you what I would do with this. So I want that table. This is the flat part of the page, even though it's not square, whatever. All right, I'm gonna trim this up, put it off to the side with the others. This I want. So when you're using your paper trimmer, let me tell you the thing I have learned. I flipped it over. If you're gonna put it down on the bottom, if you put your paper down here on the bottom to cut, you want to pull your blade down into the paper. You want to push the paper up against this edge. You do not want to come in here and push the paper away from the edge. So if I'm up here cutting, same thing. I want to push the paper into that edge, not away from it. If I tried to pull down on my paper, there's a chance I could pull that paper, and that's how you're getting not straight lines. So if you have noticed that your paper trimmer isn't trimming straight, that might be why. That is an impressive collection of macrame owls. I just realized. Do you see? Isn't that impressive? All right. So when trimming with the paper trimmer, remember you want to, if you're going to put it down here, that's great. I'm going to make this a smaller piece, and then I'm going to make this, because that way you can't really tell that that's a face, right? And then this needs to be trimmed up. So again, I want to come, you want to always be pushing that paper into your straight edge. Don't go up. Even if you're like, oh, just this once, I'm telling you, every time I say that to myself, it always shifts the paper and off I go. And it looks like garbage. If you have to trim really close to the edge like this, and you're afraid that it's going to hurt your paper, you know, like drag it like it kind of did here, put it in the middle and go up and then pull back. But you always want to finish pulling that down onto that straight edge. That's what keeps your edges straight. Now, even doing that, sometimes I don't get straight edges. I don't know if the paper is crooked or if my cutter is crooked or if my eyeballs are crooked. Doesn't matter. Something's weird and crooked, but there you go. All right. I'm looking to see if I can get that dog and that bird, and I can't, so. But you know, you could get, there's a potential for you to get all sorts of things off of here, depending on what you want. So I'll do this one, and this will be the last one. So I definitely want this pot here. And again, because I might want what's on the back side, I'm going to try and cut very close. I'm just gonna cut that. Yeah. Yep. Okay. I definitely want this rug. That's an expensive rug. All right. Well, I don't actually know how big it is. Maybe it's a 9 by 12. I doubt it. It's from Pendleton. We have some Pendleton outlets out here. And let me tell you, the outlet prices, I'm like, is that like outlet prices for billionaires? Because those are not outlet prices for me. I like that. And that could be a square, or it could be, you know, its own little design element. All right, and then I want this bird. And I'm just gonna... And if it's a small thing like this, I advise trying to keep as much paper as you can, because I'm going to need something to hold on to. It's going to be really hard to like try and finagle my way around with just being able to hold on to the bird part. So keep that in mind. All right, now let's flip it over. I kind of like that pillow too. Okay, I could get So Good They'll, or I could get the look. I think I do want this Sierra pillow. Wow, that's expensive too. I hope that pillow is like 6 feet around. Everything's so pricey. Maybe I just need to make more money. I think I'm going to take So Good They'll. And again, I'm just going to trim it up a little bit, and then I'll worry about trimming it up later. And then we just look and we say, do we need any more of this stuff? You could take that if you're, I mean, you could take anything, right? You can do whatever you want. But no, I'm not going to take that. All right. That was the last page. Hopefully this was helpful. Remember, you want a sharp pointed pair of scissors. If you have blunt tips, these are pretty blunt, you can still use them. They're just not going to be as nice. But I mean, I've fussy cut with these before. You want to make sure that you are moving your paper and pressing down on your scissors around the same rate, or at least a complementary rate. Just if you know how to drive a stick shift, just remember, just say clutch and accelerator, clutch and accelerator. And that's what you're doing. One is your clutch and one is your accelerator. And don't forget, use the tips of your scissors. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do this. And I want that tip to come down after this corner right here. So I'm going to go around and down. And remember, the less you pick up your scissors, the less chance you'll have of getting that jagged edge. So if I'm trying to cut a circle, see the jagged edges? That's because I kept picking up my scissors. If I keep them down, touching the paper, even when I have to pick them up, there's less chance of that happening. But if I am, there's a good chance I'm going to get these jagged edges. All right. I hope that was interesting. Sorry if it's boring to watch me cut paper. Maybe it isn't though. Maybe this will be like one of my best videos I've ever done. And people will be like, ooh, I just want to watch people cut paper. Anyway, I'm going to go and probably cut some of this out while watching some sort of video of some kind. Don't worry, the next video will be a storage video. So stay tuned for that one and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.